Hi guys, today we're going to be spending a little time in the grow room. I wanted to give you all an update on all of our seedlings, and I've got some maintenance to do, some fertilizing, a little pruning, and some watering. So I thought we'd start with the maintenance portion first, and then we'll move on to fertilizing and watering. So here we've got our 3 seedling trays. These are our onions, and they've all come up. Look at them. They look so good. We're going to be giving these guys a little bit of a haircut. Over here we've got our lime and our lemons. Our key limes, they all but one cell came up. Our lemons, epic fail. Not one of them came up. And I'm actually a little surprised too, because the lime seeds were the ones that looked a little sketchy. The lemon seeds looked really good. So the fact that none of the lemon seeds came up and almost all but one of the lime seeds came up, go figure. And then over here in this tray, we've got all of our peppers. We've got our jalafuegos, our Armageddons. This is the random assortment of mystery peppers. And then over here is our row of celery, and all of them have come up. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna pull all 3 of these seedling trays out, get them on our table. And we're going to start by giving the onions a haircut, and then we're going to come in and fertilize them. So as far as trimming onions, because I'm not going to be planting these for a few more weeks and they've already put on quite a bit of growth, I'm going to come in with my little nippers here and just trim off a couple inches, because if I let them get too long, then they're going to get top heavy and they're just going to flop right over. So trimming is really simple. You just want to come in and take off a couple inches. And just make sure you leave about 3 inches of growth here. So I'm just going to come in with my little nippers and just nip the tops off real quick. And you can see once you nip them off, they start standing upright a little better. Okay, so you just want to grab them, give them a nip. It's pretty simple. And it's actually a little satisfying. And you don't have to discard what you cut off too. You can actually cook with these. And there we are. They look so much better too, and see, you can just brush the tops and they just stand right back up again. Maintenance wise, that's all I needed to do was just trim the onions. Now we can go and fertilize everything. So once all the seedlings have germinated, I like to get them on a weekly fertilizing schedule. I like to use a liquid fertilizer. I use it at half strength for a few weeks and then bump it up to full strength. So this is what I use to fertilize Espomas Grow, and on the back it says mix at a rate of a half cap or 2 teaspoons per quart of water. This is my little watering jug, and this is 1 quart. So at half strength, I would only use 1 teaspoon and fill this with water and then just water them all in. So we're gonna shake it. Just put in a little bit. That's good. Maybe just a drop more. There we go. And then we'll just fill this with water. And we just water it all in. We're not going to water the lemons because there's nothing there. And all of our fertilizing is done. And we'll repeat this once a week for the next few weeks. So now we can just put these back. And those are done. Now we can start fertilizing and watering everything else. So we're going to start with our African violets. Look at these guys. They are so pretty. The blooms are a little spent and tired on these two. They've been blooming their heads off for the last few weeks. This one was a little bit slower to bloom, but I love that color. And there's blooms like underneath too. They're just everywhere. Once I trimmed these up and repotted them, they took off. So I like to fertilize the African violets once every 3 weeks. I use an African violet specific liquid fertilizer, mix it in with water, and I water it from the bottom and just let them soak up exactly what they need. So this process is the same. Shake it up. And I fertilize these at full strength. So I use a half a cap of fertilizer, pour it in, add water, and the filling of the water jug is enough agitation to mix the fertilizer in. And all I do is just fill the saucer about halfway full, and I let them soak for about 30-40 minutes. If they drink up all of the water quickly, I may add a little bit more in. And that's all there is to it. And if I have a little left over, I'll just fertilize the ferns and some other plants with it because it's a pretty mild fertilizer. It won't hurt anything. So that's all we're fertilizing today. Now I'm just going to go in and water some of these plants. This is just straight water. We'll give our string of pearls a little drink too. And these are our jade cuttings. For all of the succulents that we're propagating, I just like to come in and just give them all a nice little mist about once every couple days. And we're also propagating string of pearls. And this is string of bananas. We're propagating that too. I forgot to give our little waffle plant a drink. Now let's take a look and see how our African violet propagation is going. I put quarters on top here just to help keep the vent closed. So here are our African violets. They are looking pretty good. The soil is moist. You can see the humidity has built up in the dome. I haven't had to water it too much. I haven't fertilized it, but I don't see any new growth. But the leaves are still looking good. You've got 24 African violet leaves in here, so we hopefully should get a few new plants. And this was resting against the humidity dome. This is exactly what happens when you get African violet leaves wet. They just fall apart. And in this little container, I took a few store-bought lemon seeds and put them in here just to see what we could get, if I could get these to propagate. Oh, look. 3 of them came up. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm surprised. I wonder if they're going to do anything. There's my little sign. SB for store-bought. They are organic. So these I can take out now. They don't need to be in the humidity dome anymore. They can just grow on like the rest of our seedlings. The African violets, they've been in here for a month, and they usually take a few months before they start producing new plants. So I'm just going to put these back under the humidity dome and back under the lights and just keep on checking on them. We're also going to be starting some seeds today. I've got some chamomile that I want to start, and I found a bunch of old seeds, some jalapeno, some sweet basil, some tomatoes, some herbs. I found these in an old Ziploc bag. These are from, let's see if I can show you guys, 2015. So these are 9 years old. We're going to plant some of these up and just see what happens, because I think it would be kind of a fun little experiment just to see, will they come up? Will they do anything? But these chamomile these are fresh. So these I want to get in and get planted because I want to try and make chamomile tea later. So let's move these over here. I also found these old seed starting trays. These are biodegradable, so we can plant our seedlings in here and then just break them apart and plant this directly in the ground as well. So this is what we're going to be planting everything in today. I've got our seed starting mix here, our tray, our seeds, our labels, label marker, our garden marker. All right, let's get these planted real quick. For all of the seeds, I'm going to plant them 1/4 inch deep. For the chamomile, I'm going to just lightly press them onto the top because they need light to germinate, but I will come in and sprinkle a very light layer of vermiculite over the chamomile and a little heavier over the rest of the seeds. The chamomile seeds are so tiny. Okay, we're going to put the humidity dome on top, and we're going to set these under the grow lights on a heat mat. All right, so let's recap everything we did today. Let's start with our seedlings. We've got our onions here. I planted these a month ago and they've come up beautifully. We gave them a nice little haircut, a nice dose of fertilizer. Over here we have our limes and our lemons. Our lemons were a total dud. Our limes were, I think, a 95% germination rate. One cell didn't come up. All the rest have come up or are just now coming up right there. These were planted 3 weeks ago. And then our peppers over here and our celery, these were planted I want to say 2 weeks ago, and they all have come up beautifully. They all look so good. What we did was come in here, give them some fertilizer, gave them some fertilizer. We gave these guys a haircut and some fertilizer. Our African violets got fertilized today. You can see they're still soaking up some of the water, but they've soaked up about half of it so far. Our crotons, we fertilized these as well, along with some of the aglaonema cuttings from last summer that are still hanging on over here. Gave some of our jade cuttings some water. We left a couple of the succulents back here. They don't need any water. String of pearls had a little bit of water. Our waffle plant had some water. All of our succulents that were propagating, they all got misted with a little bit of water. All of these succulents over here were watered about a week ago. They're doing just fine. Look at the Haworthia blooms. They are still going for it over here. Isn't that crazy? On the bottom shelf, we've got our store-bought lemon seeds over here. They have germinated, so we took them out of the humidity dome, and this is where they'll stay. Our African violets are still under the humidity dome. They haven't sprouted any new leaves yet, but there's still moisture in here, and all the leaves look good. So fingers crossed and patience, because they do take a couple months. And then over here is the new tray of seedlings that we planted. I've got 2 rows of chamomile here, and I just planted these right on the surface and covered them with a nice light layer of vermiculite. And then over here are our 10 or 9-year-old seeds. We've got jalapeno and basil, cilantro, parsley, and a bunch of different varieties of tomatoes. And we'll just see if any of these germinate. And our ferns over here got a little fertilizer. They got some African violet leftover fertilizer, and so they're just gonna be loving life right now. They look so good. They were so small when I first planted these, and they've just put on some nice new growth. I also have an oscillating fan over here. I have it turned off right now just because we're recording, but what that does is it provides a nice gentle breeze over the seedlings, and that promotes airflow, and it also mimics just like the natural breeze outside, and that helps strengthen the seedlings. Let me turn it on and I'll show you. And you can see it just kind of ever so slightly moves the seedlings. And just that little movement is very beneficial for the seedlings. And our work in the grow room is done. This is just a typical day for me in here, just tending to the plants and the seedlings and just making sure they're all watered, staying hydrated, and happy. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.